Hiya, it's me, Nicole Phoenix Star. And this is a Nick Star podcast. My earphones for recording are all tangled. Okay. So today's episode is showing up even when you don't feel like it. 'Cause I don't feel like it right now. But I am always impeccable with my word to me and others. And not doing it is not an option. And so I could simply say, I'm just letting you know that I am not up for it right now. The end. And therefore, my commitment to me has not been broken. And I know that I'll always show up. And if I'm unable to show up the way that I normally do, I communicate that. So yesterday, I went to the Women's Health Clinic to have what they call now a cervical screening, otherwise known as a pap smear, because I got a text message from the Australian government not long ago saying, we don't have any updated results for your cervical screening, and this is a reminder to have one, which I thought was funny. And I realized that I hadn't had one since 2010 in December, and I've had a baby since then, and I've thought about it off and on, but I've never had any kind of odd symptoms or anything that have made me follow through on that. And living in Indonesia and India and places like that, it's not kind of in the field of awareness. And so, yeah, the years just kind of slipped by. Anyway, I didn't feel the need to go and have one, but I thought I like research and I will go for the research value. And what I encountered was fascinating, reporting back on my research. And it was a very medicalized rejection of menopause conversation that I had with a female doctor at the Women's Health Clinic, that I floated between wanting to punch her in the face and scooping up all the women and holding them tenderly to me, because the rejection of the rite of passage into menopause really, is in my field of interest. And really embracing menopause into a season of life that is incredibly glorious. So I don't have the capacity right now to go into all that, because that's originally what my plan was, to talk about that. But I'm feeling kind of wiped out, and like I said, without the capacity to discuss all of that. I've had a very, interesting week where my energy has felt quite fragmented. And usually when I'm in a state of fragmentation, it's because I'm in some evolutionary stage, and I've been doing a lot of continual work on the awakened realization state, teaching and holding space for that, but also my very own personal practice around mind identification and inquiry and all these sorts of things. So there's a lot of shift going on in my life again in a really cool way that's slowly unfolding in different ways in the external. So on this date, this information will come, and on that date. And no, I'm not moving to another country or anything like that. I just became aware that I was feeling outrageously content and comfortable, and that perplexed me and kind of poked me because it felt stagnant. And I'm not a fan of stagnancy. And I don't know, anytime I've opened with this, I was feeling content and comfortable. And therefore, it was somewhat alarming. People find that quite fascinating. So yeah, I've just kind of been riding the waves of the fragmentation, knowing that there is some evolutionary stage happening, which I always embrace and participate in whatever happens moment to moment. And yeah, when yesterday and today came along, it's like, I really need to do that podcast. And I was like, I just don't have the capacity or feel like doing that, because I know I want to talk about the medicalization and rejection of the menopause journey that is so conditioned in society, and the experience I had at the women's clinic with the doctor. And I was like, well, okay, well, what are you going to do? Because we're never not going to show up. It's like, well, I'm just going to show up and say, here I am showing up, and I don't have the capacity to do much more than that. And therefore, and that in itself is exactly what needs to be said. So, ta-da! There we go. Yeah. That is the end of today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I am so grateful for my audience, and I really appreciate messages and feedback and conversations that happen randomly and periodically in this space. I sit in deep gratitude for it and the conversation here. My website is www.nickstar.com, NIKSTARR. I need to update that because I have some immersion availability coming on. One-on-one immersion stuff. I've had a few people contact me saying, hey, any chance of some one-on-one immersion time? I got some stuff I want to do. I'm like, yes, actually, that's interesting. There is. So, yeah. Note to self, update website with that offering and opportunity. All right. That's me. Much love. Mwah.